Hey everybody, I'm David with Bolivar Live, and I'm here with Dan Priest with Priest Insurance, and it's Insurance Talk with Priest Insurance. We do this show every Monday afternoon at 4 o'clock. And today's going to be a little different. Well, actually, every
time it's
every
different.
show's a little different.
So that means they're kind of the same?
Yeah. Well, you never know what we're going to talk about. And when I say I've been thinking, Dan just starts sweating. So Helene came in.
Yep.
Devastation from Florida on up. But let's talk about the damage. You know, the people on the coast, inland a little bit, they have insurance. They have flood insurance. They have windstorm. They have everything, or they should.
Yeah.
Because of the area they're in. But then you get up into the Carolinas and Tennessee and Georgia, and you know, some of these people live up on the side of a hill. Beautiful home. They may not need flood insurance because they're not in that zone.
Well, I want to caution you about something there. So what's going on, and you know, floods, over 50% of the floods that happen every year are in places that are not considered a flood zone.
Okay.
Okay, so flood insurance if you live on top of Pikes Peak, maybe not. Okay.
Right.
But in these newer subdivisions or newer developments, it can be an important thing. And I think that this is an illustration, and it's really, really hard to drive this point home. It's about where the rain falls and how long it falls.
Right.
So
it may not rain at your house, but up there it could have rained 15 miles from you. But if you're at the bottom, you've got all that coming towards you.
Okay, so yes, so 3 examples. Years ago, there was a tropical storm Allison, if you remember that hit Houston. Well, that hit on the Greens Bio thing up around the Woodlands area and on the east side of town.
I remember, and it flooded the east side.
It flooded. So if you're familiar with Houston, the North Loop or the loop where I-10 intersects it on the east side of town was under 4 foot of water around Anheuser-Busch, Galena Park. It was horrible. You know, 30 inches of rain fell in the Woodlands area, spring. 3 inches of rain fell in Katy. So I heard, we made it through Allison. Well, it didn't rain on you.
Yeah, I remember that because I just sold my airboat, and the guy that bought it was actually on the news going down one of the feeder roads helping rescue people.
Exactly. So the importance of that is it depends on what aquifer that the rain falls. Hurricane Harvey was another one.
That here at home, take Winnie for instance. I mean, you know, 3 foot of water in some of the homes there, 4 foot of water.
Right. And then here we come right behind that with Imelda, and it generally kind of hits the same place. And some of those people got double whammied, but it actually hit another aquifer. So in East Texas, if something hits on the Trinity River aquifer, the San Jac, it flows down into East Bay, right? But if it hits in the Neches, or in those aquifers, Pine Island Bayou or Village Creek, or even the Sabine River, that's a different set of circumstances. It could hit the Sabine River and flood a totally different group of people than if it moved over and hit around Sam Rayburn, or in that area it floods the other rivers. So you were going down a spot that you don't need flood insurance.
Well,
you've got to really consider
where you're at.
Yeah, and what the cost of that is, and the cost of the damage and putting it back together is. So everybody should consider that.
Keith and I were talking the other day at dinner, and he said, you know, anymore, it doesn't matter where you live. Everyone has a chance of being in a storm, whether it's a hurricane, a tornado, a hailstorm that can be detrimental, you know, a freeze. He said, man, anymore, the way the weather patterns are, you just never know. And, you know, my mom lives up by Lake Travis, and they have some of the roads that have some low water crossings and stuff. And up there, you know, they can have a flood like that because there's nothing to slow the water down, and it drains for so far. Here, we have an area where you can't get rid of water because we're so close to the tide. And then you get the tide on top of 6-8 inches of rain, you
It's
know,
an extra foot of water.
an extra foot of water.
So you mentioned Austin. So Austin, the Waco area, that up to the Dallas quarter, that's a huge hail risk. They also have tornadoes. I have some friends that had tornado damage up there in the past few weeks. Helene is a primary example of how a tropical event can affect the middle of the country when that thing got there and just kind of stopped and just poured rain. So weather events happen, and it can all
It doesn't matter where you. I remember one time asking you,
and they're all different.
Dan, where can I move that insurance isn't going to be a major factor in a home payment? And he said, you said, I don't really know of anywhere.
Southwest of San Antonio.
Yeah, you know, just because everyone's, and you know, typically we don't have freezes down here, but look at the 2 years that we had major freezes down here. You know, when Harvey hit, someone called me and said, how y'all doing? I said, man, we're okay, but anything within 50 miles of me has got 3 foot of water on it. You know, we're here, but we're stuck here unless you want to go across the ferry because you can't get down 124. So it's not just where you live, it's 25 or 40 or 50 miles upwards. And like Trinity River, if Dallas had 30 inches of rain, those people all the way down into the top of Galveston Bay have to worry because all that's coming down the Trinity River. You know, same way with the San Jacinto or the Sabine River. You know, Orange can get a big flooding event because of the Sabine.
Well, yeah, it can. And then, but then you look at it with insurance and what happens. Like a lot of those people in North Carolina didn't have insurance, and understandably, I understand this is not going to happen to me at the lifetime flood, right? But then it does, and you know, this is not a statement, but for $300 or $400 a year, they could have had that protection. And now the alternative to that is waiting on the federal government or self-insuring that event and waiting for the federal government. And if you recall, like what happened here with Ike, there were some people that they had some temporary housing if you qualified economically, that maybe it was a travel trailer that you stayed in up to 3 years. And then if you qualify, there was some federal funding that was available to replace a house, that it was just very cookie cutter, very nice. It was great for the people that needed it. Or it's possibly SBA loans.
It's a sit and wait game.
It is a sit and wait game, and you're displaced for a long time.
As to where insurance, you know, can delete some of that wait time.
It can, yes. And, you know, federal flood insurance is limited to $250 and $100 in contents. There are a lot of places you can buy what's called excess flood to help make up that difference. But whether it's flood or wind or just a regular homeowner that has wind, it's just important to have it. And if it doesn't happen to you, that's great. But if it does, it's a
blessing.
It's a blessing to have.
Great. Well, if people want to get hold of you to talk about insurance, maybe not here, maybe somewhere else in Texas.
Sure.
What's the best way to get hold of you?
Calling us is probably the best way, 409-755-7600. You can check us out at priestinsuranceenagency.com.
Right here?
Yeah, or talk to myself or Shay or Jamie or one of the girls in the office.
We can always hunt you down if we need to. So, well, we're going to head on out. We'll be back next Monday at 4 o'clock with another Insurance Talk with Priest Insurance. Until next time, I'm David with Bolivar Live. Y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless, and bye-bye.